Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Garcia versus Porter media conference call. Your host for today, Lou DiBella, will begin.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us for a final conference call in what should be an amazing Showtime Championship boxing card presented by Premier Boxing Champions at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn on Saturday, September 8th. The main event, Danny Garcia versus Shawn Porter for the WBC World Welterweight Championship. A sensational fight, an incredible matchup of styles, one of the best fights you can make in the welterweight division. This will be part of the main event of a triple header. It'll also feature your Dennis Ugas versus Cesar Barrenuevo for the WBC Welterweight Eliminator, and also an extremely interesting and important heavyweight matchup between Adam Kownacki of Brooklyn, New York, by way of Lumza, Poland, and Charles Martin from Carson, California, the former world heavyweight champion. Obviously, an effort by Charles to get back into the big picture in the heavyweight division with one big win, and for Adam, an opportunity to defeat a former world heavyweight championship and put himself into immediate title conversation. So a sensational card, tickets for the live event, which is co-promoted by my company and TGB Promotions in association with DSG Promotions. They start at $50. They're on sale now. They can be purchased Ticketmaster.com, BarclaysCenter.com, or by calling 1-800-745-3000. They can also be purchased at the box office at the Barclays Center. Fights involving Garcia and Porter rank among the highest attended and highest grossing gates for boxing at the Barclays Center. So both of these fighters are basically fighting in their homes away from home. Adam Kownacki is a huge favorite within the Polish community in the New York area. He's a very big ticket seller who's this will be his 7th fight at the Barclays Center. So right now tickets are moving incredibly well. The ring sides and the better seats are going to be gone quickly, so people should get on the phone and order their tickets for this fight when they can. And there are tickets down to $50, so this is an affordable event for everybody. In addition to being a huge event for Brooklyn and for the Barclays Center, this is another in the string of top boxing events and major fights that have been presented by Showtime Championship Boxing under the leadership of Steven Espinoza. Doesn't get better than this. In my mind, this is as good a premium cable fight as you could possibly make. Again, it just continues in a multi-year period of excellence for Showtime Boxing. Steven, why don't you say a few words?
Thanks very much, Lou. September 8th will be our 24th live boxing presentation of the year. That includes all of our linear television platforms. That's 24 live boxing events this year. And of those, we've had 8 matchups of top 5 versus top 5 fighters, and that's clearly what Danny Garcia versus Shawn Porter is, 2 of the top 5 in the welterweight division. And that's, again, will be the 8th time this year alone that's happened on Showtime. But we're also here to talk about the heavyweights here with Adam and Charles. Adam, who is hugely popular with Brooklyn's Polish community. He's fighting at Barclays for the 5th time. But Charles Martin is no stranger to Barclays either, having won his heavyweight title here at Barclays on Showtime back in 2016. It's a very intriguing crossroads fight in a division which is certainly got a lot of attention, a lot of buzz lately. So I think, that's all part of a very solid card, interesting card top to bottom. I would be remiss if I didn't also mention Amanda Serrano, who is trying to become boxing's 3rd 6th division champion when she fights Yamila Reynoso for the WBO Junior Welterweight World Championship. So a little bit of everything, some high-quality fights looking forward to September 8th.
Thank you, Stephen. And as Stephen pointed out, there is a terrific undercard featuring loads of New York talent. Crystal Beha Colbert is on the card. It's loaded with young talent, and an incredibly significant women's fight between Amanda Serrano and a reigning 47-pound champion for 140-pound belts, which would be Amanda's sixth weight class with a title. As Stephen pointed out, that would put her there with two other great male Hall of Fame level fighters, and make her the first woman to hold that distinction, as well as the first Puerto Rican. So that's a very significant fight. Let's get started with the great heavyweight matchup. I'm going to call first to say a few words. A young man I'm very familiar with, born in Poland, moved to Brooklyn with his family when he was 7, two-time New York Golden Gloves champion, rated in the top 10 by the BC, number 13 by the BF, 6-round knockout recently against Iago Kownacki, has wins over from former title challenger Artur Szpilka, as well as a number of other good wins on his record, but really a rising young heavyweight close to his big opportunity, with his biggest obstacle in a former world champion, Charles Martin, in front of him. So Adam Kownacki, please say a couple of words, Adam.
Hey, thanks, Lou, for the warm introduction. I'm ready to make a statement come September 8th. It's a very big fight for me. I'm training very hard. And hopefully after this fight, after I get the W, I'll be in line for a title shot. I mean, I beat, as you mentioned, a former heavyweight contender. And now if I beat that world champion, I mean, what else do I have to do to get a title shot? I mean, I'm thrilled to be on a great show in Barclays Center, live on Showtime. And can't wait. The arenas will be white and red. The Polish fans will come out to support. So it's definitely going to be a great night for me.
Thank you, Adam. Charles Martin only lost to Anthony Joshua in April of 2016. He has a couple of knockout wins since then. 6'5", 32-year-old southpaw, ranked in the top 10 by the BC at number 9 and number 15 by the BF. Charles, this is a pretty, immediate way to get back into the picture if you could beat this young contender, and he's looking for you as his biggest resume, mark to date. So this is a big night for you. Can you say a few words?
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I've been training hard, doing what I got to do, staying focused, and I'm looking to put on a big show come September 8th, and keep going up those rankings, trying to get back to my belts, man. I know it's gonna be a tough fight, and that's what we've been training for, we've been training so we don't see nothing new.
All right, well, I'm going to open up the questions right now for Adam and Charles. So, moderator, if you can open up to the press.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. And I'm waiting for callers to join the queue at this present time. Our first question is going to come from John Cutney from Reddit Boxing. Please go ahead.
Oh, hi. For Adam to start with. So I've seen a bunch of your fights in Brooklyn. It's been really fun watching your rise over the last number of years. So with this fight, Charles, a former title challenger, if you win here, a lot of people expect your next fight after that would be, or at least soon, would be a title chance. So the question is, when you turned pro, did you have the expectation and the confidence that you would reach the level of the sport? And same question goes for your trainer and those in your brain.
Of course. I mean, nothing less. I mean, my goal was always to be world champion. I mean, winning the New York Golden Gloves is probably one of my it was a big thing for me. So after I won that, next goal was winning the heavyweight title. And with every fight, I'm an inch closer. So I'm training very hard to pass this next exam come September 8th.
Okay, thanks a lot. Good luck. Question for Charles. So you've accomplished a lot in the sport. You've been a world champion. You fought in a huge fight against Anthony Joshua in the O2 Arena. So at this point in your career, what do you have left to accomplish in the sport of boxing?
Becoming two-time world champion, man. I haven't put on display of what I can really do in this sport, you know. So I'm just here to show people that I'm legit and I'm real, you know. So that's what I'm gonna do September 8th.
How would you describe your level of hunger?
I got to prove all the haters wrong, you know. I got some stuff to prove, so that's what it is.
Okay, Charles, good luck.
Our next question is going to come from Carlos Toro from Fightful. Please go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for taking time to talk to us, the media. First question for Adam. You've been making a lot of splash as this rising unbeaten heavyweight contender the last couple of years. And this is really your first time fighting someone who's already won a world title. Do you kind of see Charles Martin as sort of your first real test as a pro, as you kind of attempt to make a case for yourself and challenging for a world title down the line?
I think after Splico was my first real test. He was a former contender. He fought Deontay Wilder, gave him a tough fight for his money until he got caught with that great right hand. But I think this fight will elevate me to another level where I would want to get.
Boxing fans, in New York are accustomed to seeing you in the ring and knocking out opponents. And as Lou mentioned, you're a big draw over there in New York. What does fighting in New York mean to you personally?
I mean, I love it, you know. Frank Sinatra said it the best. You can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So I plan on continuing that and winning again on September 8th in New York.
And one question for Charles. Charles, given that both you and Adam are both ranked in the top 10 in the WBC ratings, you kind of look at this fight as one where the winner could reasonably be in a very strong position to challenge for the WBC title down the line.
Yeah, possibly, man. But I'm never looking past my opponent, so I'm right on the money. You know what I mean? I gotta take care of Adam Kownacki first before anything.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Our next question is going to come from Peter G. from Fight News. Please go ahead.
Hi, Charles. This is Peter. We met a couple of times before. I have a question for you and you only because I had a time to speak with Adam many, many times. For the last couple of years, every fighter, every trainer I spoke with who's facing Adam is saying Adam is easy fighter to fight. And then they are getting knocked out. What is in Adam Kownacki's style which makes him so hard to, first of all, predict and then to fight?
What makes him hard to fight?
Yes.
He's just a good fighter, he got heart. Good fighter.
So the heart, is this something for you looking at? I mean, I know you were preparing for this fight in the Big Bear. So I know you're taking him very seriously, but like I said, if you watch him, is he winning because of his style, or like you just said, or only because of his heart? Because I think so. There is more than that.
He's winning because he's a good fighter.
So being a good fighter, good enough to beat you?
I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying he's a good fighter,
Any special things for you? Because we know how you fight. You are a defensive fighter, and you're gonna fight versus the guy who goes forward all the time. He never stops. The common sense will gonna dictate that you're gonna just wait and counter punch him. Will be surprised, or this is what you're gonna do. Whatever you can say. I understand this is you don't want to spill the tactics.
I'm preparing for everything he can possibly think of, That's what we're working on. I'm coming to minimize everything, man. That's what we working on.
I let the best man win.
There you go.
Next question.
Okay. Yes, our next question is going to come from Eddie Goldman from No Holds Bar. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. First question for Charles. Charles, for a lot of people, the last time we saw you fight was a couple of years ago against Joshua. Could you tell us how you think you've improved as a fighter and what lessons you took from that fight?
Yeah, I'm more mature. I'm you know, I'm grown. I'm a grown man, so we ready, man. When I get in that ring, you know, when I go to camp, when I go to training, I'm serious about what I do. You know what I mean, I'm taking my craft serious. So that's what's the difference, you know. I've grown.
What do you think your advantages are over Adam in this fight?
Funny. Yeah, he's funny. I'm just gonna win, man. You know, I'm coming to win. I'm coming to win. Coming to make a statement, man. Devastation.
Okay, and for Adam, how do you view Charles as a fighter, and what do you think, other than the obvious things of that he has height and reach, what do you think your advantages are over him?
First of all, I thank Charles Martin for pronouncing my name right. I think he's one of the few people that actually said it correctly. But I think one of my key advantages will be my pressure. You know, I'm a very pressure fighter, and if Charles Martin isn't able to keep me off him, I think it's going to be a good night for me.
Do either of you want to make a prediction for the fight?
2 minutes at the brief. I mean, it's going to be definitely exciting. You know, there's going to be a lot of fireworks.
And Charles, would you like to make a prediction?
No predictions. You gonna see. I like to prove it. I like to show it. I'm the show me state. No predictions.
Okay, thank you. Good luck to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lou, that was our last question for this group. I'm sorry. I can't. I do apologize. We can take a question from Jake Donovan from Fight Nights. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Charles, I have 2 questions for you first. A lot of people focus on your loss to Anthony Joshua, obviously, just because of the visibility. I wanted to actually talk about your last memory at Barclays Center when you actually won your title against Vyacheslav Glazkov. Does returning to Barclays bring back any special memories for you? Was that part of the motivation for wanting to take this fight?
I mean, as far as taking the fight, that it's really nothing. But I won my title there, so I mean, I love fighting in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? It's good. You know, I like that. I like the Barclays, I like the big stage, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, very cool. And then as far as I know you didn't really touch too much on taking this fight. You've been out of the ring for over a year. I know you were sick early this year, so you had to pull out of a fight. But like, what's gone on really for all of 2018, and what led to you, settling on Kownacki?
It's just who we gonna fight next. You know, you gotta fight somebody.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what I'm asking. I get, for people who are interested in your career, like, just what have you been up to the past, really for the past year, I guess.
What you say? What have I been up to?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm sure people are curious, like, because you had your 2-fight comeback last year, and then you just kind of, disappeared, with the exception of being scheduled for a show and not, appearing on it.
Yeah,
like, I guess.
was in camp. I was in camp. Things, some things didn't work out with my opponent or whatever, so that's what happened, But I've been in camps, stuff like that, so we
very cool.
Stagnated doing nothing, We've been working. So.
I got you. All right. Thanks, Charles. I appreciate that, and best of luck to you.
Yep.
And then, Adam, my question for you, with this fight, do you feel like this is the final step towards getting that title shot, or do you feel like there's still more work to be done? And are you willing to wait it out, I guess?
I mean, the most important thing right now is win September 8th. I mean, as we all hear, Charles Martin's very focused. So I'm prepared for the best Charles Martin that he brings. And if I could beat the best Charles Martin, I think I deserve a title shot, So that's the focus I'm going in. I'm looking at Charles Martin as he still has the title, as he's a champion. So I'm getting ready. I'm sparring a lot, running, doing my workouts, everything. I'm looking at him as he's still a champion. So but beating him puts me in line, I think, for a title shot. I mean, what else is there to prove? I'd be a contender, not I'd be a former world champion. Getting a shot at a title would be, I think, the next step in my career.
Very cool. Thank you both for that.
Adam, thank you, Charles. I look forward to seeing you guys fight week. And now we're going to move on to the main event of this great Showtime Championship Boxing presented by PBC on Saturday, September 8th. Once again, it's 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, for the WBC World Welterweight Championship. And frankly, Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter don't really need a whole lot of introduction. They're two of the biggest attractions at the Barclays Center. I said this earlier, but it really is home away from home for both of them from a business standpoint. Showtime, Shawn Porter, former IBF World Welterweight Champion, now has the WBC Silver belt, going after the WBC World Belt. On September 8th, it'll be Shawn's 5th fight at the Barclays Center. Shawn, we say a couple of words? Shawn?
Shawn.
I was His line is open. Dan. His line is open, so.
Well.
Danny's on if you want to introduce him, and we'll find Shawn.
Okay, two-division world champ. It'll be this guy's 7th fight at the Barclays Center on September 8th. He was a BC welterweight championship. He had the BC welterweight championship. He was a unified junior welterweight champion, and now he's trying to get that WBC welterweight championship back. Danny Swift Garcia.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on. Thanks to the media, for joining this call. I'm excited to be headlining the Barclays Center again for the 7th time, and I'm excited to go out there and recapture my title.
Thank you, Danny. And for the time being, we're going to open up questions for Danny, since we have him on the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, if you have any questions at this time, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. And I'm waiting for callers to join the queue at this present time. Our first question is going to come from Keith Eidick from theboxingscene.com. Please go ahead.
Hey, Danny. A lot of guys who fight Shawn obviously come away from their fights feeling that he uses his head. How much are you preparing for that, and how can you kind of combat that from happening to you?
I just got to go in there and dictate the pace of the fight. I got to go in there and fight my fight. I can't go in there and basically get caught up in his fight. So, we got some good sparring partners, short guys, about 5'6", who use their head, who come forward. So me and my father got the perfect game plan, to get away from the headbutts. And so, yeah, we have some tricks up our sleeve.
How much will you make the referee aware of that, when the fighter moves and that kind of thing with the referee, just to have him watch out for that?
At the end of the day, I'm not really worried about the referee. It's a fight, so I'm going to let the referee do his job, and I'm just going to do my job, and that's go in there and fight. So I'm not really worried about his head. I just have to go in there and fight my fight.
Danny, Shawn's obviously never been stopped. I was just wondering what it would mean for you. Obviously, you want to win the fight, but what it would mean for you if you're able to stop him in the fight.
It would mean a lot. If it doesn't go to the scorecards, that's always a great thing. You don't ever want to leave it in the hands of the judges. So if I go in there and stop them, it'll definitely it'll feel great. I stopped a lot of people for the first time in their career, so it won't be the first and it won't be the last time I do that.
Keith, if you have a question for Shawn, he's joined the call.
Okay. I just have one last question for Danny, and if Shawn can answer this as well, that would be great. Both of you guys obviously have been in a lot of close fights, that have gone to the scorecards and been split decisions or close unanimous decisions. You've come up on both ends of those, obviously, in wins and losses. I know you can't go into a fight looking for a knockout, but how imperative is it for you to try to end this fight before it goes to the cards so you don't put yourself in those situations again?
At the end of the day, those fights are growing fights. Those type of fights are what makes you a better champion, that makes you a better fighter. If you win easy fights all the time, you don't know what you have to work on. You won't know how to improve. So those type of fights are always a blessing. It shows you what you gotta work on and how hard you gotta work and get. So I think every fight in my career has been the right fight, and I was gonna go in there and use all those fights and all the experience that I had to get this victory.
Shawn, could you answer that as well?
Yeah, sure. A lot the same. You go through some ups and downs in the fight and different fights or whatever, but at the end of the day, you're supposed to learn from it. So that's where I'm at right now. I think I've learned what caused me to lose those close fights, and I plan on going in there September 8th, just a few weeks away from now, and doing everything that I need to do to win the fight decisively, and with no question at all that I'm the winner.
Shawn, Danny mentioned a few minutes ago that he has the strategy devised to, kind of not fight your fight. A lot of your opponents say that, and then you still make them fight your fight. How are you able to do that? And do you think Danny can do anything to make you not fight his fight?
I think it's a psychological thing. I think when you get in the ring with me, you know what I'm going to bring, and you really got to get yourself going for that. I think a lot of times most guys, they get caught up with my work rate and my aggression, and they feel like they have to counter that with the same work rate and aggression. I think when I get going in the ring, I kind of, just make my guys do what I want them to do. That's kind of how I win my fights, and I enjoy it. So I don't know what game plan they have for me, but I do know that I'll be ready for anything. This is I'm 31 fights into my career now. So I'm no professional athlete for no reason. I'll be ready for whatever they have.
Thank you, guys.
Our next question is going to come from Dan Raphael from ESPN. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hey, guys. Danny, my question for you is this. Originally, this was supposed to be a mandatory for Shawn to challenge Thurman for the title. He got hurt, obviously was not able to participate in the fight. How excited were you, or how did you feel when you found out, I'm going to get this opportunity, because obviously Shawn was going to fight somebody for the belt, but you were the guy that was next in line, not knowing that Thurman was necessarily going to vacate?
No, it was exciting. Because obviously I want to be world champion again. The WBC title was my title to begin with. So it was exciting when I got the call, and it was a go right away. And it was a fight that I liked. It's a fight that stylistically I like for myself, and I was excited, and I said, let's get it on.
One question, I've already asked this previously in another interview with Shawn, but I'd like your take on this also. Obviously, the competitions between yourself and Shawn Porter, two of the best welterweights in boxing. I think there's a lot of people that look at the fight also and view it as a competition in some regards between your fathers and your trainers. You're both with your dads in the corner, and they've been outspoken, and I know how much they stick up for both of you guys. Can you talk about your point of view as this being a competition not only between yourself and Shawn, but between your dad and also his dad?
At the end of the day, we're looking at it like another fight. We're not looking at it like, his dad versus my dad. It's just, us, just Team Garcia versus his team. And that's how we always look at it. So we're just preparing ourselves, for the best. We're working hard every day in the gym. And we're just going to do what we always do.
When you fought Thurman, I know Keith mentioned this to you, that it was a close fight, split decision loss. How difficult was it to swallow having the first defeat of your career, which has been excellent for so many years, to come by that small of a margin where there was some question in the minds of some of who the rightful winner was?
It was tough. It was tough. It was tough. I would be lying to you if I told you it didn't affect me a little bit. But you know, I have a mind of a winner. You know, obviously waking up that day, I thought I was going to be unified champion of the world. You know, I thought it was going to be WBC and WBA. I was real confident when it came to the scorecards that I was going to win the fight because I finished the fight strong. And, you know, there was a lot of close middle rounds. You know, he won a lot of the early rounds, a lot of the middle rounds. But I felt like I pushed the fight. I thought I won the fight, you know, by a point or two. It didn't go my way. You know, I felt like I got a lot of that dead weight off my shoulders off my last fight when I stopped Rio. So that got me going again. But, you know, mentally it was tough, but, you know, physically, you know, or like, you know, it didn't affect me. It didn't affect me. So now it's behind me. It's in the past. You know, I feel good. I'm motivated. And that's just the same Danny Garcia you're going to get, you know. So in my mind, I still feel like I'm the best, and I just got to go out there and prove myself.
All right, I'd like you to answer this also, and Shawn, you can chime in too. You both lost close fights to Thurman. Can you tell me how much either of you would like to get a rematch, you know, with presuming a victory in the fight you guys have coming up September 8th? Dan, if you could start with that, and then Shawn.
Yeah, definitely. You know, definitely. You know, I just gotta get this victory first. And then once the fight is over, then I'll fight anybody. I'll fight anybody. It doesn't matter who it is.
And Shawn?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. I think you know, the fight against Thurman was very, very close, very, very entertaining. Obviously something that I want to write back. You know, but due to him being out a year and a half, almost 2 years now, I think I'd have to see him be the Keith Thurman that I fought, you know, way back in 2016, in order for me to, you know, want to get back in the ring with him. You know, at the time, he still is undefeated, but at the time he was, you know, regarded as the best fighter in the division, you know, and we don't know if he's still that guy. So I like to see him fight some other competition first, and trust me, when I get this belt, whoever wants it can come get it.
Yeah, all right, great. All right, guys, appreciate your time very much. Look forward to seeing you guys on the 8th.
Our next question is going to come from John Kownacki from Reddit Boxing. Please go ahead.
Oh, this is a question for Shawn Porter. Hey, Shawn, thanks for being on. So Danny Garcia scored a devastating knockout of Brandon Rios in his last. You have a.
And do a cut off.
Mr. Kownacki, are you still there?
Yeah.
Your line is breaking up.
Oh.
Can you ask again so I can see if I can hear you?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm still here as well.
Okay, yeah. So Danny, this is a question for Shawn.
Can't hear anything.
Okay.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Carlos Toro from Fightful. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Shawn and Danny, for coming on and talking to us. First question for Danny. Coming out of your last fight against Brandon Rios, how would you rate your performance in that fight? And do you feel like you need to do better than that to beat Shawn Porter?
You know, I give myself a B. You know, I was off a year before that fight. So I felt like I knocked off a lot of rust. I felt like I did real good for being for being a year off, and winning by knockout was definitely the goal. I felt like that was the only way to win that fight is by knocking him out, and that made me good. That made me feel good. That made me feel happy. So yeah, I'm back where I need to be. You know, I'm active. I just fought in February. I'm fighting again, and you know, I always tell people, active Danny Garcia is a dangerous Danny Garcia.
Yeah. Since you had your fight against Keith Thurman a year ago, and a number of welterweights have kind of risen and made their claim to be the best welterweight in the division, guys like Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., when you're assuming that, if you win this fight against Shawn Porter, you kind of look at the welterweight division and feel excited about new potential fights that a lot of people are already kind of fantasy matchmaking for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. It's always exciting to be in a division with, full of talent. Then at the end of the day, like I said before, I gotta go in the 8th and get this belt, get this win, and I'll fight whoever. The biggest fight, biggest payday. I'll fight whoever.
And one question for Lou, if he's still there.
I'm here.
Lou, you've been in the promoting game for a long time, and you've been a big part of putting these big boxing cards in Brooklyn together. And looking at this matchup and the card itself with the Adam Kownacki and Charles Martin fight, and Amanda Serrano doing something that two only other boxers have only ever done in history, where do you rank this event, at least on paper, among all the other boxing cards that you've been a part of in Brooklyn?
I mean, we put on some amazing cards. This is another one, and frankly, I'm as excited about this one as I've been about any one in a long, long time. I've said this main event, Danny and Shawn, it's a fight I've loved for years, and it's a fight that sort of was inevitable, and it's now happening, and it's a great fight. But, everything else on this card is important, has significance. There's history being made. There's going to be a major contender, either Martin back again or Kownacki in the heavyweight division. It's a great, great card, headlined by two great champions in Garcia and Porter. And it's another card in the run of great cards in Showtime Boxing in association with Premier Boxing Champions, and another great card in the line of Brooklyn Boxing. So, it's continuing to build those brands at the same time. So I think it's going to be a big night for boxing on September 8th. I hope everybody joins us.
Thanks a lot, and best of luck to everyone.
Our next question is going to come from David Melandra from THS Sports Nation. Please go ahead.
Hey, Danny, so how long did it take for you to get over your loss to Keith Thurman to get into fighting Brandon Ritos? And then can you tell us, how did this whole fight with Danny Garcia, your fight against Shawn Porter, get started?
It took me a little while. Because at the end of the day, I never pictured myself on the wrong side of a decision. But it is what it is. It's behind me. Like I said, I came back strong against Rios. I did what I was supposed to do against him, and that was stop him, knock him out. Another highlight knockout on my career. And this fight, number 1 and number 2 WBC contenders. And that's how this fight when Thurman got stripped and he didn't want to fight. So, the next two guys up for the title was me and him. So that's how this fight got made.
And can you tell us about the success you've had at the Barclays Center, since this is going to be your 7th fight at the Barclays Center?
Yeah, definitely. I love the Barclays Center. I opened up the Barclays. I was the first world title fight at the Barclays Center in 2012 when I knocked Morales out, to defend my WBC and WBA title. I fought many epic battles there, against Peterson, Duda, Thurman. The list goes on. I scored a lot of great knockouts there. I have a big fan base in Brooklyn. When I walk through the streets of Brooklyn, everyone knows who I am. So that's my home away from home. I love the atmosphere. I love the people at the Barclays Center, and it's my home away from home, and I'm excited.
And do you have any potential future plans to bring a fight back to Philly?
Yeah, definitely. In a perfect world, after this fight, I would love to come back and defend my title in Philly. But, we got some work to do come September 8th, so we got to get this victory, get the job done, and then, whatever's next is next. But I would love to bring something to Philadelphia.
And this question is for Shawn Porter. Hey, Shawn, what makes this match with Danny Garcia very intriguing?
The number one thing is the style matchup. I think can't talk enough about it. But, I'm aggressive. I come strong. I come fast. I come hard. And Danny is one that's a little bit more patient, finds the shots that he wants, and he throws them and he lands them. So I think, on paper, the fight is a brilliant fight. One loss in Danny, 2 losses in myself. Been around the block 100 times, and coming back to Brooklyn, where we're both familiar, where everybody's familiar with us. And then, again, if you move forward into, the other intangibles of this fight, 2 hard hitters, 2 strong guys, 2 young guys, it just makes for a very great, intriguing fight, and it will be.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Our next question is going to come from James Kennan from ShareDog. Please go ahead.
How's it going, guys? You talked a little bit about the style matchup. Every fight is obviously different, but for both guys, is there any fight from your past you think kind of lays the blueprint for how this one's going to go?
At the end of the day, I fought a lot of people, in the amateurs, the pros. I fought people who come forward, throw a lot of punches. So, at the end of the day, I really can't go by that. I just have to go in there and be the best Danny Garcia that I can be. And that's what I'm preparing for. That's what I wake up every day and get my work done, is to be the best I can be and perform the best I can perform. Go in there and make adjustments like a true champion and get the victory. And I think that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
And Shawn, any past opponents you looked at that you think kind of reflect Danny's style?
Past opponents that I've had that reflect Danny's style?
Yeah, that you've fought that you think kind of prepare you to face this style.
No, I don't think so. I think, when I reach back on fights that I've had before, it's usually about moments in fights that help me through whatever opponent I'm facing, whatever fight I'm facing. So a lot the same with Danny. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen yet, but I'm sure that, a fight that I've had previously will play its role during this fight and help me through. That's the point of experience.
Thanks, guys.
Our last question is going to come from Keith Eidick from theboxingscene.com. Please go ahead.
Yes, my question is for Shawn. Shawn, you've had some long layoffs in your career, even longer than the one you'll end when you fight Danny. How much does that help you when you've had those long periods of inactivity and still been able to perform at a high level when you go into a fight like this?
I don't know. If anything, I'm healthier. I'm happy, and I'm relaxed. I'm fully recovered for anything that I've been through, and the list goes on from there. I think that if anything, I'll have fresh legs and a fresh mind get in the ring with Danny. I think in the past, just the time in between fights has made me stay hungry. And I think a lot the same with this fight, especially this being for a world championship title and the WBC, and against Danny Garcia, one of the top guys in his division. Everything about this fight has kept me hungry from the moment that the talks began about this fight happening. And so we're like 23 days away from the fight, I think, and it can't come any sooner.
Shawn, earlier Danny said that he gave himself a B for his performance against Brandon Rios. How did you think he fought against Rios?
Honestly, prior to the knockout, it was a C performance for me. It was a high C performance. I thought that he was not as fast and sharp as I expected him to be. If that's Shawn Porter versus Brandon Rios, no disrespect to Brandon, but that fight doesn't go 9 rounds. But it's all about what you do. And he found the right punch at the right time. He landed it. He knocked him down, and I stood up. And that was what I needed to see from Danny in order for me to get in the ring and do what I did. Danny doesn't knock out Brandon. I don't get in the ring, and this fight may or may not be happening right now. So God is moving, and I'm ready.
Guys, I have a question for both of you, if you could. It's my last question. I know you talked a little bit about fighting Thurman at some point earlier in the call, but do you kind of have to put that fight out of your mind? Because I don't think anyone really knows when Keith is going to fight again and when he would be ready to fight guys of your caliber. You kind of put that out of your mind at this point because he hasn't fought in so long?
Yeah, I put it out of my mind. I just, Yeah, and again, no disrespect to Keith, but we haven't seen him. We don't know what Keith is going to look like when he gets back in the ring, and I would hate for Keith to get back in the ring and be any less than what he was the first time we fought. And, you know, there's too many questions and reasons why Shawn Porter will win the rematch at right now, you know. So I have definitely put the rematch a lot further behind me than it was in you know, prior to this fight being announced. But this is the number one thing on my mind right now.
Danny, could you answer that as well?
You know, I just feel like, you know, in the first place, he's out because of me. And, you know, I was the one who hurt his arm. I was the one who broke his elbow. So, but I just feel like he's not hungry no more. You know what I mean? You know, a win over Danny Garcia is probably one of the biggest wins you could get in boxing. You know, he got that. You know, he unified the division. I think he reached heights in his career that he always wanted to reach. And you know, I think he's married now. He's traveling the world, so his mind is not in the game. So I don't think he's hungry anymore. I think he passed what he wanted to accomplish. I may be wrong, but from what I see, that's how it seems to me.
Does that lead you to believe that he wouldn't fight someone like you or Shawn again?
I don't know. At the end of the day, you know, this is a sport about money. Everyone wants to get paid. So his fight with me was his biggest career payday. So, you know, money talks in the sport. So I can't put words in no one's mouth.
Thanks again, guys.
That was the last question for this group.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you Fight Week. September 8th, Barclays Center, Showtime Championship Boxing presented by PBC, Premier Boxing Champions. Thank you.
Good deal. See you soon.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. Now disconnect and have a wonderful day.
So everybody out there, Showtime Shawn Porter. Want to tell you to check out Soulcentralmagazine.
It's your boy Antoine, Mark Rowe, Crystal. We in here, the champ.